Break with Reality, Part 7. The older man leaned back in his chair, reading the papers in his hands, forehead creased. He took a deep breath through his nose, then sighed sharply. He looked over his reading glasses at the two men sitting at the far end of the desk before him. "You have done it this time, mes amis," he said, shaking his head, tossing the papers onto the desktop. The two men opposite glanced at one another, each looking uneasy in the shirt, tie and suit they were being forced to wear. Both shifted uncomfortably in the creaking wooden chairs they were seated in. "Sir, can we not—" "Quiet!" snapped Leroux, leaning towards the man who spoke, pointing directly at him, his finger a few centimetres from his nose, silencing his speech. "You talk when I tell you to talk, oui?" He pushed his chair out and stood up, walking behind it, placing his hands on top, as he leaned over to talk more to the men. "You fucked it up," he spat. "Blatant disregard for any kind of health and safety requirements whatsoever. The death of a crew member. You're looking at manslaughter here. You think you can handle 15 years, monsieur?" he said, staring at first one man, then the other. It had started as a joke. It always started as a joke. As far as Ericsson and Lund were concerned, they were well known for it throughout their collective maritime life. Unfortunately, poor Hansen had been too often the butt of it. The prank was cooked up by both of them. Get Hansen out on deck, tell him it was a drill, persuade him to come across under the davit, one of them to distract him, one of them above, up in the controls. Once the hook was slipped through Hansen's waist belt without him realising it, hoist the annoying little whiner up in the air, swing him around a bit, give him a bit of a scare, give Ericsson and Lund a laugh and then let him down again. Everything would be fine. They'd all look back and laugh, another yarn for the archives, except Lund had got carried away again. Thought it would be even funnier to dangle the poor sap over the side, maybe even let him feel a splash of seawater. But the hook burst through the belt and, well, away he went. Sure, they'd been quick enough throwing the lifebuoy in, but was it their fault Hansen wasn't quick as strong enough swimmer to reach it in time? "But it is our word against yours, isn't it?" said Lund, raising his hands from the desk. "No one else saw what happened." His words were cut sharp by an almighty slap around the face from Leroux, which nearly knocked Lund off his seat. He raised a hand to his chin, manipulating it, running his tongue along his teeth, checking that they were still all in place. "You forget about the ship's CCTV, espèce d'idiot!" roared the captain. "I have all the evidence needed." Flecks of white foam had appeared round the older man's lips, his face puce in exasperation. Ericsson raised his hand, indicating he would like to talk. Sighing again, Leroux nodded at him, then leaned back with crossed arms. "Yes? So what happens now? You call the police?" he said, voice wavering. "By every right and every law, I should do," said Leroux, leaning back across and hammering a fist in the desk. "I should have them waiting at the dockside. Come aboard, have both of you arrested the second we moor at Aberdeen," he glared at each man in turn. But Lund and Ericsson glanced at each other. Something they hadn't expected was happening. Both stared intently at the captain. "There might be a way we can come to some, shall we say, arrangement?" Ericsson and Lund stared at each other for a moment, then turned back to the lopsided smile on the face of Captain Leroux. Dougal and Keir eventually managed to tear themselves from their spread-eagled stargazing activities and commenced the lengthy walk heading to George Street, where Simpson's the baker was situated. Both were acutely aware of how difficult their task would be. Progress was doubly difficult, as the pavement had now taken on a sponge-like quality. "Like walking on a fucking marshmallow, this," moaned Keir. "Aye," said Dougal. "I used to have a girlfriend with a belly of this consistency." He felt like he was walking on the moon, except I never walked on her with my shoes. "I find it quite comforting, if I'm telling the truth." "That's a good point," said Keir. "Hey, maybe it'll be easier in bare feet." "You may well be right. I suggest we try it." Both men stopped, sat down, then took their shoes and socks off, putting the socks inside their shoes. "Wow, "This is amazing," said Keir once they were up and moving again. "Jings, it's like walking on silk sheets on a jelly or something." "You're right," agreed Keir. "Hey look, it works better if you lift your legs higher." He started walking, lifting his kneecaps to the level of his nipples. "Holy fuck, it's amazing," said Dougal. Their walk increased significantly in pace, and they jogged like that for a few minutes, Keir leading the way. Shortly they came to a patch of grass at a street corner, which Keir decided he should cut across. "Holy shit fucking moly," said Keir. "This green stuff is fantastic. It's like running on a birthday cake. Try it." Dougal subtly altered his course to take the grass into his trajectory, but failed to reach it. "Reach it, fuck!" Dougal suddenly jumped in the air, grimacing, grabbing onto his right foot as he did so. "What is it?" asked Keir, stopping to see what was wrong with his friend. "Have you been bitten again?" "I think so." Dougal inspected his injured sole. "Look, it was that thing there." He pointed at a small object on the pavement. He went over and stared at what had inflicted such pain on him. "Ah, it's a tiny dragon. Looks like it did bite me." "Must have been annoyed," said Keir. "Maybe we were making more noise in this marshmallow street than we thought." "Could well be," agreed Dougal, bending over for a closer look. He reached down slowly and gently picked up the small metal mythical beast. "It's coming with me. No point in leaving it here on its own. It's probably trying to, tell us something." Holding the brightly coloured miniature dragon between two fingers, he placed it in his left pocket. "Think we need to get running again," said Keir. "My feet are starting to stick." "You're right. Let's go." The going was tough, especially because Dougal was running with a limp for the first few minutes, and now insisted on running on every grass patch they could find on the way. This meant quite a few unneeded crossings of roads, but eventually they arrived at the street where the baker was located. "Time to regain our shoes, I'm thinking," said Keir. They sat down at a safe distance from the end of the small lane at the side of the building, which led to the back entrance of the bakery, and put on their socks and trainers. Put them back on. A young couple emerged from the lane with paper bags, leaning on a chair for support as they teetered along, giving Keir and Dougal strange, suspicious looks as they passed them. The boys stared directly at the ground, glad that once the pair were out of sight, they were the only ones around. "You getting it in?" asked Dougal. "I'm skint. You go in," said Keir, visibly fearful of the task. Dougal put his hand in his right pocket, which now had become unimaginably small and tight, to find that also he had no money left. "Nah, nothing here either. Fuck me, Keir. We're gonna starve. Folk are gonna find 2 skeletons where we should be in the morning, but like skeletons with clothes on." "Wait a minute." Keir, attention diverted, walked over towards the emergency exit of the bakery, which served as the unofficial servant door at this time of day. He reached and leaned into a bin that had suddenly taken his interest tucked behind the open door. "What about this?" his voice echoed as he pulled an object out of the metal can. Dougal looked down at his friend's hand and was shocked to see him holding a gun. "Whoa, wait a fucking minute. Is that real?" Dougal asked, incredulity all too apparent in his voice. "Well, I'm nae sure," Keir replied, inspecting the device, then looking back at him, a quizzical look in his face. "Come on." He waved the gun towards the baker, signalled Dougal to accompany him to the shop. "Keir, I dinna think," Dougal started, anxiety and second thoughts kicking in. "We shouldn't be—" "Come on!" Keir was more demanding this time, and Dougal wasn't about to argue with a guy with a gun, even if it was his best pal. Keir pulled his hood over his head. Dougal copied, and they approached the back entrance. There was a baker at the counter. As they reached it, Keir pulled out the gun. He waved it in front of the man's face. "Okay, give us all your dough," Keir demanded, brandishing the weapon. There was a silence. The baker behind the counter looked at Keir, looked at Dougal, and then looked down at the gun. Well, he laughed. "I've seen it all now." He was pointing at Keir's weapon, tears of mirth forming his eyes. "Jim, come and look at this." Jim sauntered up from the back with a massive lump of dough in his hands, propped up in his not insignificant belly. It struck Dougal how filthy and stained the t-shirt he wore was. There was probably more bacteria on it than a plumber's cock, he reckoned. Whatever that dough was going to become, he hoped it wasn't him that was going to be tricked into eating it. Jim looked him up and down. Tuh, he half-heartedly laughed, shaking his head, then turned to get back on with creating whatever abomination the dough was destined to become. Oh me, you boys, you never fail to make me laugh. Here. The baker, at the makeshift counter, then proceeded to toss 2 rowties, or rolls, or butteries, into a bag and threw them gently to Dougal, then pointed back the way they came with his thumb. Now get the fuck hame. Dougal caught the bag of warm cookies. He was confused. How could this man be so nonchalant, with 2 dangerous, bloodthirsty, bun-hungry criminals threatening his life? Dougal stared at Keir, then looked down at the gun. For some reason, the gunmetal had now changed to an orange colour. In fact, it didn't seem to be a gun at all anymore. On closer inspection, it was a carrot. Dougal looked back at the baker, who waved him away dismissively, turning back to more important work. Grabbing Keir's arm, Dougal quickly dragged his pal out of the shop. "You never said it was a carrot!" Dougal exclaimed once they were back in the street. "Eh? What do you think it was? Like a gun or something?" "You're no real." Keir grabbed the paper bag from Dougal, ripped it open and rammed one of the rolls in his mouth. He began to chew the still warm, extremely high-fat contented doughy treat. "No, Dougal ripped his own bit of his own warm, salty, buttery off with his teeth and also began to chew. He was suddenly aware that this was the best thing he had ever had the pleasure of tasting in his life. Wow, this is like, really. They both fell into temporary silence as Keir and his ravishly finished their ill-gotten gains, continuing the aimless walk eastwards towards the beach, through the light drizzle on those dark, deadly quiet streets of Aberdeen, lifeless now, apart from the occasional scavenging gull.